not scientific. This is not a real test. This is just a demonstration to show you what the differences of the materials are when you put flames to it. So what we actually have is a PUR, a glass wool, which is considered to be A2, non-combustible, a PIR and a quad core. It's a regular PIR, it's not a Kingspan PIR, it's a regular PIR, and it's our quad core. Just to give you a bit of an idea on what these different materials actually do. Can you put fire to them? We're going to start with the quad core, which will therefore burn the longest. But we're going to start from the quad core down to the PUR. The PIR is certified, but it's not FM certified. But because it's a sandwich panel, it's a Euro Class B. And that's a bit the problem with the Euro Class B. You can achieve a Euro Class with every kind of these materials. So if you look at the fire, how it starts at the beginning, if it starts. Yep, go ahead. So you see in the beginning a bit of smoke, and then you see charring of the material. And once that charring is there, you see that the smoke disappears. Same goes for the PIR. If we then go to the glass wool, there's hardly any smoke. But as you can see, the foil disappears within a couple of seconds. And that's the PUR. What we're actually trying to show here is how do these different materials react under a condition of a direct flame attack. And what you can see here is that it creates a hole. So it tries to penetrate the material. It's a low density glass wool, but it's deemed to satisfy in a lot of situations. And what I told you inside, reaction to fire versus resistance to fire does not mean the same. If you talk about a product which melts away from the flames, like a glass wool does, because glass melts at around 670, 700 degrees, that flame is a bit higher, but a fire resistance test goes up to 1100 degrees. So it gives you a little bit of an idea what happens to these products. If we keep on burning this for a while, then you'll see some difference in behavior. Because in the first instance, it all looks a bit the same. But you can already hear a bit of knispering at the PUR sample, because it starts penetrating into the core. A challenge. Who tries to dare to put his hand behind the non-combustible product? No, I will not. Sorry. Spoiler alert. Because what you can see here now, if you want to, you can come closer, because it gives you a bit of a better idea. You can actually see that it really penetrates into the material. And if you look closely to the quad core panel, you can see that it expands. So what it actually does, it's I call it a sort of intumescent behavior. It pushes the flames away from the core behind it. Moving back. It's see that it now starts to crack and get flames into the cracks. So it gives you a bit of an idea onto what these kind of materials do. This one here stays cold on the backside. So it gives you a bit, this is really, yeah, it's a good insulator, it should be insulating, but that keeps the temperature on this side of the product. For here, you can now see how red glowing hot it is inside. It keeps the temperature inside because it's open fibrous. And the temperature here above keeps on progressing all the heat. What you see now is you see a little bit of afterburning, as we call it, but it stays local. And if you look at the size of the flame on the PIR versus the one on the quad core, that's what I mean with the difference in damage. So it outperforms the PIR because it really protects the material better. And it seizes. As I said, when you take away the flames, it stops the fire propagation. So can we take out these two parts? Sure. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out the PIR and the quad core and I'm going to cut it so that you can see what the structure on the inside of the product is. If you look at the product itself, you can see how it actually expanded and how it protects the material behind it. And if you feel on the back, just the regular ambient temperature is what you have on the back. Where do we have the saw? Yeah. Yeah. And this is the difference with the PIR. Yeah, temperature will be cold as well. Should be. Yeah, it's the same. It's very similar. But if you look at the way the product itself behaves, you see that there's not that intumescent behavior. So what you see here with the two different, and remember that this one was ignited a bit later than that one, but you can see that the penetration into the material is less, than with the PIR. And you see that phase change here, where cells are opening up. That's what I said, that's that swelling behavior. Yeah, let's. So this, for those of you, this is the PIR, where you can see the penetration depth. These are the two next to each other, and what you can see here is actually here you see that phase change. You see the cells opening up, so it actually protects the material behind it, whereas here it penetrates into the material. That's your difference. And if you look at the thickness of the product itself, this one is a bit thicker than this one, so the total penetration thickness here is less than you have over there. Are there any questions to this? No questions?
The cost.
The cost. I'm a glad guy. I don't have to sell it. Ask one of my colleagues here running around actually doing the sales. I'm the lucky guy. I can set it on fire and get paid for it. They need to sell it.
What is the difference in composition between the quad core and the PIR?
The difference in composition is actually, we used to make PIR, we still make PIR, but we have a sister division who makes cool therm, and cool therm is from Kingspan insulation. That's a phenolic foam, and the quad core is actually a hybrid insulation. It takes best of both worlds. So you can't really say it's a PIR anymore because it's different. The composition is different. There is a bit of phenolic in there. There's other composition products which are added to it. The reason why is because one of the things we wanted to do is create less smoke. So to get rid of that smoke production, putting more flame retardants into a product is another option to get a better fire performance. However, it decreases your smoke performance because flame retardants adding means more smoke. So you don't want to add too much flame retardants because more flame retardants means more smoke. So it's having as less as possible flame retardants. So it's actually the structure of the material which does it. So and that goes down into the chemical composition, how it creates the molecules. That's what makes that different. Because if you look at the structure of this one compared to the structure, the microscopic structure, compared to the quad core has a very microscopic structure. So it's very, very, very small cells, which gives you an advantage in the performance of the fire. So the bigger the cells, the easier it is to break it down. That's a bit what we try to do with this.
How many hours it can resist the fire?
A 175 millimeter panel can resist the fire resistance test of 2 hours. 1 hour. 1 hour in temperature, 3 hours in keeping the fire inside. However, what is the killer for us is the joints. So it's not the material itself. The material itself can last a lot longer. But the problem is that the joints, because you're putting fire to it, what happens is that the joints open up. And that's where the flames come out, or where the hot smoke comes out, and that's when you fail. So if you look at the material itself is capable of doing more, but because of the panel construction, we can't do more than an hour.
This is a qualified FM for 882?
Yep.
So all the products are just FM approved?
Sorry?
All the products in Kingspan are FM approved?
The products we make here are FM approved because one of the things with FM approvals is that the factory needs to be audited. So it's not only the products which are audited, it's also that you keep your quality of your production process as appropriate. So it's also the third-party auditing. So not all our factories are third-party audited because it's too expensive, but we make the same products in the factories. So realistically, in performance, they should do the same, but in reality, there is a bit of a difference there. Because of the third-party auditing, you need to keep your quality control at the highest level you have.
At what stage is your approval in Abu Dhabi at?
We applied for it. And what status at the moment, I couldn't tell. Jim, do you know?
About a month away.
About a month away.
6 weeks, yeah.
So the question was where are we with the approvals, the certification in Abu Dhabi? That's about a month away.
It's an application, not a retest.
Yeah, it's just the
It takes-
application, not a retest, because we've already tested everything. So we checked all the boxes. The only thing is you need to apply for it.
Question.
Yep.
So where can we get a look at these certificates, compare it to whatever products we have? I represent an insurance company, so when I have a client who has this panels installed, let's assume, he would come to me with a name. That's it. He doesn't have the documentation. He doesn't have anything. Is there a way we can access this information?
As soon as you have a panel building where you know that our panels are installed, or when the client says it's Kingspan panels,
Yeah.
ask one of the guys here locally, one of the sales guys. They will give you all the details of the product,
About this product.
about this product which is installed on that building.
Okay.
And even if it's not our product, because sometimes we see that people say it was Kingspan
But it's not.
and it's not.
So you can confirm.
So we can confirm to you every time that whether or not it's a Kingspan building.
Great.
We get that, unfortunately, we get that a lot, that people claim that it's a Kingspan product. I actually had a fire in Holland where the firefighters were calling me and saying, I've got the dossier of the building here, and it says it was Kingspan panels.
Yeah.
And I looked in our dossier and I said, we didn't deliver on that building. And I said, I can tell you who delivered because I found out via internet who delivered on that building. It was a competitor. But in the dossier, it said it were Kingspan panels. But we call it value engineering.
Yeah.
Value engineering for the owner of the construction company, not for the building itself. But he bought a cheaper product and said it was Kingspan.
And when you sell this product, do you sell it as a system or do you sell it as a panel?
We prefer to sell it as a system.
Yeah, we prefer to sell it as a system.
We do, in Dubai, we do a complete system. So we will do flashings, accessories, fixings.
We will monitor the installation of the building and we will certify it afterwards that it's up to standard.
That's the only way that we, as an insurance company, can say that this actual building passed the 285 or something like that. If it's been, as a system.
Yeah, but that's what you get when you do FM 4881. FM 4881 is the system is tested, and it's the lucky thing about FM 4881 is that you test the panel itself, so you're not testing flashings. Because as soon as flashings are involved to cover a joint, for example, it will be written in the approvals. For FM, go on to approvalguide.com, and you can find every manufacturer who has an approval with all the limitations they have. Because some people put a screw, a fixing, every 100 millimeters in the joint, and then they pass an FM 4881.
Yeah.
But on the FM approval side, it says it needs to have a stitcher every 100 millimeters. And we don't have any stitchers in the joint. That's just to give you a bit of a difference of FM versus FM. So if you get somebody saying, I've got an FM approval, look into the details. The advantage of FM is that they have approvalguide.com, where you can go onto that site, you can log in, everybody can log in, you can request to log in, everybody can log in, you type in the name of the product, and you get everything from that product and the certification.
The Dubai site is completely FM.
Shall we go inside, because it gets dark outside now?